How happy is the blameless vessel's lot, the world forgetting by the world forgot. Eternal sunshine of a spotless mind, each prayer accepted and each wish resigned.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while and we got a lot to cover today, so let's just get right into it. I got a lot of requests to do this movie on my Truman Show video, but at the time I actually hadn't seen the movie. But after watching it, I fully understand why. Aside from the obvious Jim Carrey playing the main character bit, this movie left me with a lot of the same feelings, criticisms, and questions that the Truman Show left me with. So for those of you who are coming into this knowing nothing about the movie, first of all, you should absolutely go watch it. I'll just get that out there now. This movie is absolutely a recommend from me and should definitely be seen without spoilers for the first time. But if you don't care and just want to watch the video or need a refresher, the premise for Eternal Sunshine is there is a doctor you can go to have any bad memories erased. So a bad breakup, the loss of a loved one, a dead pet, this clinic will erase everything you remember about them as if they had never existed. The idea being that it will relieve you of the pain of that loss. And this is where I feel like the first interesting connection to the Truman Show is, in that this is all something we've probably thought about before. Wishing we could erase painful or regretful memories is something I think a lot of people experience but don't see through to its logical conclusion, which we will get to in a moment. But this movie is about taking that concept, this thing we've all wished we could do from time to time, and exploring what the consequences of it might actually look like. And like the Truman Show, this is something you can't prove hasn't already happened to you. Like the concept of last Thursdayism, the idea that the universe and everything in it just popped into existence last Thursday, and that everything you've experienced or witnessed, all your memories, just came pre-packaged with you last Thursday. It's a silly concept, but the idea is that you can't actually prove that it's not real. Any explanation you can come up with, things you remember doing before last Thursday, can be explained as part of what came with the universe when it was born. Your memories are not tangible. They don't exist in the same way this bottle of bourbon on the Walmart folding table I call my desk exists. You can't hold memories, you can't pick up memories, and you can't drink your memories at 9:45 on a Wednesday morning to help relieve the pain of your own existence. The only way memories can exist is if there's a conscious brain to remember them. But memories are what make us each who we are. The time you burned your finger on the hot plate at the restaurant isn't what makes you more cautious around hot plates at the restaurant. Your memory of the pain you felt from touching the hot plate at the restaurant is what causes you to avoid that. So if you were to lose that memory, or somehow have it entirely removed, you wouldn't realize that you should avoid touching that hot plate at the restaurant. You still had the experience and it altered your behavior, it changed who you were, but in losing that memory, you've lost a part of yourself. This is obviously an arbitrary and benign example, but I hope it illustrates my point. The present day you is not a culmination of your past experiences. The present day you is a culmination of all your memories of those past experiences. And altering them or removing them doesn't simply make you forget, it changes who you are. And I think that's a major point the film is trying to make. So I guess enough of my ramblings, I think it's time to dive into the film. So without further ado, let us begin. In the opening scene, we see Jim Carrey's character, Joel, get out of bed for what seems like a normal day and... Okay, I take it back. We need further ados. Because in terms of timeline, this movie is a mess. And I know I normally take my reviews scene by scene and then reveal all my deep philosophical insights and knowledge at the end, but I've been working on this for a good while and I just don't think that's going to be possible. So please bear with me while I try to figure out the best way to do this. But we're about to go into full spoiler territory right off the bat, so if you have any reservations about whether or not you might want to watch this movie spoiler-free, this is your final warning. Now that everyone who's still here has definitely, totally seen the movie already, we all know that this story actually runs mostly in reverse. So when we see Joel get out of bed for what we think is a normal day, is actually the day after his memory is erased. And we get a narration from Joel as he's going about his day, and he tells us enough about himself for us to get a sense of what he's like as a person. The thing I'm always talking about how much I love, we get to see Joel as a real person. He has his quirks, his own thoughts and feelings, and his own motivations. It's elementary stuff, obviously, but it's something that feels so lost in modern writing. There's nothing that really makes Joel exceptional in any way. He's just a regular guy who's shy and awkward, but he's human. Nonetheless, part of the deal of being human is dealing with pain, something Joel was unable to do. Throughout the movie, we see the evolution of his relationship with Clementine, who, since I praised Joel's character, is another extremely well fleshed out, three-dimensional character. However, she's essentially the antithesis to Joel, where Joel is guarded and emotionally reserved, Clementine is forward, spontaneous, and emotionally assertive. But one of the interesting things about this film is that we get to see the evolution of their relationship backwards. So in the intro, we see them meet and have a wonderful time together, and it seems like a straightforward love story, but the film hard cuts to after their breakup. And when Joel is getting his memory erased, the first memory we see is the fight that caused them to break up in the first place. A memory that shows a clearly broken relationship, where there's no trust, nothing but bitter resentment. Instead of just simply spectating his own memories, though, Joel is conscious through this experience. There's no explanation in the film, but it seems as though this isn't a normal occurrence for the procedure. As we dive deeper into Joel's memories, we see a memory of Joel and Clementine laying in bed together, where Clementine wakes Joel up with a kiss but has a sad expression. She tells Joel that he doesn't tell her anything, that she feels like she's an open book and he doesn't trust her. Instead of listening to her and hearing her out, he just tells her that constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating. The scene resonates with me a lot. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it just feels so real to me. It shows these problems weren't just surface level, they were deep emotional issues of trust that Clementine is justified in having. She tells him that people need to share things, because that's what intimacy is, and she's right. I mean, of course, every relationship is different and people need different things, but being open and honest with your partner is crucial to forming the type of bond she's looking for. And Joel refuses to give that to her. Of course he has thoughts and passion and love, but he's afraid to be vulnerable. He sees himself as uninteresting or boring. I love this because it shows us their relationship didn't just go to hell out of nowhere. It was them, acting as themselves, that caused it. It's this fundamental clash in the way that they are, the way we've known them to be from the beginning. It shows that Clementine was able to vocalize her issues, that she genuinely did give Joel a chance to do better. But he didn't. Instead, he held his thoughts and feelings and emotions inside until they grew into nothing but cold bitterness. And then we get Joel's first good memory. Joel and Clementine are in bed under the covers talking. Clementine asks Joel if he thinks she's ugly. She tells him that she always thought she was. That as a kid, she had a doll that she would call Clementine and would yell at it, telling it to be pretty and not be ugly, that it would somehow transform her. Joel then starts kissing her and telling her that she's pretty. And I love that this memory comes after the last, because not only is it the first genuine moment of intimacy that we see, but it proves Clementine's point exactly. That childhood story wasn't something she would just tell anyone. She told Joel because she trusts him. She trusted him to make her feel better, to support and understand her. And isn't that what it's all about? That's how you get to have these intimate moments in a relationship, by being open and honest and vulnerable with the other person. But it's hard to do that when you're not getting it in return. I think this moment very clearly explains why the relationship went downhill, as much as it seems like a good memory, because she put herself out there, but she never got the same in return. I think that's why she began to act out, and Joel, never having expressed any emotions, just became more and more hateful. And I think this is the moment Joel realizes this. He's begging to stop the procedure so he can go back and fix this mistake, but it's too late.
Please let me keep this memory. Just this one.
This memory is going to be erased along with all the others, and he's going to be right back to where he was before he ever met her. And this brings me to what I believe is the central theme of the film, the age-old saying, "It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all." This is the point where Joel realizes that no matter how much pain the memory of Clementine may have caused him, being free of that pain also means losing all the precious memories that he holds so dearly, all the lessons he should have learned, all the ways she impacted his life. It's all gone. We see this journey Joel goes on, through his own mind and memories, to see even though their relationship may have ended poorly, and even though the memories cause him severe pain, there's still something worth holding on to. Because the only reason these memories caused him so much pain is because of how happy he was before. You can't have the good without the bad. No matter how enticing the prospect of ridding yourself of painful memories might be, this movie is attempting to prove the point that those experiences are part of who we are, and they're part of what makes us appreciate the good things that happen to us. This movie is telling us that life is not about minimizing pain, it's about embracing it, learning from it, and understanding that life goes on. Another thing I think might be overlooked with this film is this idea of predestiny. That no matter what we do or try to change, we are going to go down the path we were meant to. Whether it's from some god or the universe or just the way we were programmed by our simulators, we have a path to follow no matter what. We see this in two ways with the side plot that's running along while Joel is going through the procedure. The first being with Frodo Baggins. Early on in the movie, Frodo tells the Hulk that he fell in love with Clementine while she was being erased. That he stole a pair of her panties and that he's been using the stuff they got from Joel to make her fall in love with him. Now, along with this being just horrible, this only works for so long. Despite the fact that he's saying all the right things, giving her the right gifts, she knows something is wrong. I'm not sure what exactly the film is trying to display here, but there's something deeper in her mind. Whether it's her soul or some kind of spiritual connection, I don't know. But something is telling her that this isn't right. That this man isn't the man who's supposed to be saying these words to her.
You're kind, beautiful, and smart, and funny, and nice.
What?
And the other place this is shown is with Mary Jane and Spider-Man. Howard. We see throughout the movie this almost obsession that Mary has with Howard. The way she talks about him and the work that he does, the level of respect that she gives him, and her refusal to leave when she finds out he's coming over. Towards the end of the movie, however, we find out they actually had an affair before, and that she has had her mind erased already. So this whole story we've been seeing unfold for her has already happened before, and even though she had all of these memories of Howard erased, she simply walked the exact same path she walked before. I gotta move on from this topic though, because there's just so much more to this movie. The film continues to move backwards through Joel and Clementine's relationship, and each memory is lighter and happier than the last. This is something else I appreciate about this movie. Outside of the mind erasing and memory hopping madness, there's a genuinely good love story being told along with it. These characters are so well defined and so different from each other, but the writer does an excellent job of making it feel like there's real chemistry between these two. And the fact that the timeline is reversed works wonders here. We see them go from a horribly toxic couple who can't stand to be around each other to a beautiful and thriving relationship that I want to see more of. And not only is the writing beautiful, but the acting too. Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey do an obscenely good job of portraying two people in love while still remaining these wholly distinct characters. But there's a bit more going on here. Because while it's interesting to get to see the relationship unfold in reverse, it's also a bit misleading. After we've gone through all of Joel's memories, we see this couple as they were at the beginning, when everything was happy and it really seemed like they loved each other. I think it's intended to make us forget what we saw at the beginning, a resentful, toxic, and utterly broken relationship. The movie gives us the happy ending we think we should want. They find each other and get back together, they get a second chance. But where this differs from more classical stories is that our protagonists are unchanged by the end. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the hero's journey. It's a pretty famous topic and it's talked about quite a bit on YouTube, and even if you don't know it by name, you've almost certainly seen it used before. It's probably the most common story arc in literature. The one where the protagonist is living their normal life until something happens that causes them to go on some kind of journey, where they face different trials they have to overcome and they learn new things and they grow and they change, and then by the end they come back to their normal life, but they bring with them all these experiences which have transformed them into someone new. But how this relates to Eternal Sunshine is we see Joel and Clementine go through this epic journey together through Joel's mind and memories where they realize how much they love each other, and if only they had another chance they could treat each other better and be more understanding of each other. However, by the time they get that chance, by the time the journey is completed and they return to their normal lives, those experiences are no longer with them. The audience knows what Joel learned on his journey, but he doesn't. They're not new people with a better understanding of each other or some sense of what their relationship meant. There's almost no difference between who they are now and who they were when they met the first time. So what is to stop them from going down the exact same path they went down before? What new knowledge or experience do they have? Will they have a tape of them saying all the horrible things they thought of each other, and they have the knowledge that they had a relationship before that ended so badly they decided to erase it? Maybe they can talk to friends and get some insight to what their relationship was like, but is that enough to change the path they're headed down? It's certainly open to discussion and I'd love to hear what people think, but I'm honestly not convinced. Regardless of what they might be able to learn about each other and the feelings they may have had, those still aren't their experiences. No matter how much they may be able to uncover through other people's experiences of them, they still don't know what they've been through because you can't know it without going through it. And that's what they lost out on going through with the operation. They lost their personal experience. So from my perspective, nothing has truly changed. So what would be the point of this? What would be the point of having these characters truly come full circle? Well, I think the reasoning is stated quite clearly with this line.
I can't see anything that I don't like about you.
But you
Right
will.
now, I can't.
But you will. You know, you will think of things. And I'll get bored with you and feel trapped because that's what happens with me.
Okay.
In my opinion, what is being said here is directly in line with the idea that it's better to have these experiences than not. That the good is worth the bad. They're not getting a second chance at their relationship, they're getting another first chance. The story doesn't end with, and they lived happily ever after. It ends with, and they decided to be happy for as long as they could, knowing it wouldn't work out. So is it truly a happy ending? Well, that's not really for me to say. It depends on what you value and what you think about everything I've been saying in this video. But regardless, from my perspective, this is the best thing about storytelling, when it gets us to ask these questions about ourselves, when it goes beyond simple entertainment and makes us wonder about our situation and our place in the world. Don't get me wrong, I love to complain about bad writing too, but this is exactly why. Because when the writing is well done, when characters are this strong, it facilitates this kind of emotional payoff. It leaves you thinking more deeply about the subject rather than just wondering what the hell the writers were thinking. And at the end of the day, I think that's what all this is about. That's why I named my channel what I did. Because criticism is not for tearing things down, it's not to make the creator feel bad about the work that they've done. It's to take a piece of work and have a discussion about why it works and why it doesn't, so that in the future everything can be improved. I hate seeing that a lot of film criticism has devolved into some strange tribalistic viewpoint where it's about what a person's political views are or what their social background is, when media is meant for everybody. My opinion on anything isn't final, and neither should yours. Everything is a discussion. We all have different experiences and we all have a different viewpoint. As long as people can keep an open mind, we can keep talking about this stuff till the universe goes dark. But this video has to end eventually, so I'll let you all go. Remember to like and comment and subscrizzle, you know, all that shit. I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time.
My crotch is still here, just as you remembered it.
Yuck.